but it will affect one's career, affect one's goal, affect one's hobby. Good day, everyone. It is another episode, Live with Gladness. Remember, it is your personal responsibility. My name is Mrs. Sophia Kiwamu. So in this episode, we'll be talking on the topic, finding healing from love wound. Finding healing from love wound. Today we go through a lot of life challenges, and love have become a very major life experience. There are wounds in a lot of relationships: emotional wound, physical wound, relationship wound, career wound, different kind of wound. Wound is like a hurt, a pain, an experience that is hurting, that one really felt wounded. And that's why when it gets into love relationship, it is important to deal with it, because it automatically affects one. So it's important to find healing from love wound. Relationship can happen amongst colleagues, among workers, among friends, even ultimately in marriage, in business. And today we see and meet a lot of wounds as a result of betrayal. Betrayal can be as a result of broken trust. People have gotten into a relationship and there is a broken trust. And when broken trust is experienced, there is a wound that is left out in that relationship. Also, you can see this kind of wound as a result of rejection, feeling unwanted, feeling abandoned from an intimacy, from a friendship, from a family sector. When one feels abandoned, you get into this wound of rejection. That's why it's important to also deal with it. It can come from family members. To get love wound, it can come from friends. It can come from colleagues. It can come from business partners. It can as well come from neighbors. There are wounds everywhere. Wounds are feeling that truly gets deep into one. This wound affects our hearts, affects our minds, affects our relationship, and ultimately even affect our vision, affect our goal. It's important to find healing. You find healing to such wounds. The funny part is that such a wound goes deeper than physical wound. The yes, the emotional wound, love wound goes deeper and lasts longer. That's why it's so difficult to heal. It stays longer than expected. And also it can come as a result of harsh words, emotional damage done as a result of speech. Words, when has gone out, it's difficult to withdraw it. So it's important to become careful so that we deal with such wounds, such pain, such hurting experience. Also, it can come as a unmet expectation, loving deeply but receiving little. A lot of people have been in deep relationship, but what they receive is just very little. It leaves one with a deep wound. People you deeply care for, people you deeply share your concerns, share burdens, express affirmations with, and it turns out to become hurting. It is so difficult to heal, but it's important we deal with it. When it comes from maybe leaders, comes from pastors or ministers, it comes from, trusted neighbors, and suddenly there is a bridge in that connectivity. It had really hurts one. One feels so battered and shattered. It can also leave one with so much bitterness that can last for a very long time. Look at the scripture in Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 14. It said, a wounded spirit, who can bear it? If truly your spirit is wounded, it is difficult to truly contain. That's why it's important to deal with it, because before it affects one, emotional wounds can be deeper than physical pain. Physical pain, when you take medication, it can truly heal. But for emotional heal, it needs to be intentional. It takes through process. Healing is very possible. That's the good news for us even this moment. Healing is very, very possible. Jesus also went through such an experience. Look at the betrayal with Judas. It was a wound. It was a painful experience. Denial of Peter was another painful experience with Jesus. Also, rejection rejection by his own people. Jesus experienced such a wound. And if Jesus had an experience of such kind, we too also go through the same. The sign that you have this kind of one is you feel hot whenever you hear about that person, whenever you connect with the person. You avoid emotional closeness and whatever that will bring you closer to that person, you find every reason to make sure there is no connectivity. You struggle to forgive. Immediately you see such signs, it shows there is a love wound. There is a love wound. You feel unworthy to love again because this wound leaves you with an attitude, leaves you with a habit. So it's important to find healing. Betrayal from trust is so common. It's so serious. The wound is so deep and painful. Look at the life of Joseph. Betrayal from his family members, betrayal from his brethren. Yes, that caused him such a pain. But thank God he was able to go through the healing process. He went through the healing process, going through slavery experience, going through hatred and accusation, but he went through because he took a decision to allow the healing process to take place. And the healing process starts by not allowing yourself to hold on the bitterness because the impact and the effect of this bitterness is so disastrous. The impact leaves you with a lifestyle of negativity. That's why it's important to find healing whenever you see betrayal, whenever you go through rejection, whenever you go through harsh words, whenever you go through abandonment experience, even unmet expectation. Yes, rejection, neglect, even from family neglect. Sometimes we see children getting to know of someone, a young man who also went through family neglect. That neglect was what he grew up with, what he struggled in adulthood because of that family neglect. He struggled with life challenges. Everywhere he went to, he was struggling. Why? Because there is this family neglect, parental neglect that happened at the early stage of his life. It's so important we deal with those things because emotional neglect can never allow you to show love. It cannot allow you to express love. It always leave you with this mindset that you are rejected, that you are not accepted, that you are not loved, that you are not valued. The steps that we must deal with to be able to walk out of this wound is number one, be ready to accept that there is pain. Be ready to accept there is pain. When you stop pretending and covering up that there is no pain. If we accept there is pain, it helps one to go through the healing process, remaining and connecting with God. The highest source of such healing is from the Almighty. Look at the scripture in Psalm 147 and verse 3 say, He healed the broken heart and binded up the wounds. It is God that can bind the wound. You've been hurt, yes. You've gone through betrayal. You've gone through rejection. You have gone through different kind of wound, different kind of abandonment and rejection, disappointment of different kind that left one with wound. If there is one thing we must do is to find answers, find solution, find way out to show love again, to restore your love life, because the consequence is also emotional coldness, spiritual distance, even from God, from loved ones, from even genuine people, because you have gone through love wound. Everyone becomes a suspect, difficult to love. That's the consequence. That's why it's important to deal with it. Difficult to love. Even genuine-hearted people, you find it difficult to connect with them. Low self-esteem. That's the consequence of such a situation. Feeling hurt, even when no one is truly hurting one. You carry silent anger. That's the consequence. You carry silent anger and it eats up one's joy, eats up one life experience. You feel unworthy. You feel unworthy. It's important you find healing. from every love wound. Find healing. Finding healing is releasing forgiveness. Releasing forgiveness. This love wound is an open wound. What truly heals it is forgiveness. Forgiveness is that seal that covers this open wound. This love wound is publicly exposed and makes one vulnerable to so many life challenges. That's why leave someone with this attitude: I'm not nice, I'm not welcome, I'm not loved. Learn to release your spirit. Free your heart. Free your heart. That's how to find love again. Free your heart. Open up. Release yourself. Avoid things that will remind you of those negative experiences. I always learn to avoid those things. Remembering a friend of ours who also went into a relationship, also very close and deep relationship. That relationship lasted for over 4 or 5 years, and they truly wanted to get married, but just a betrayal. The man was unfaithful, and the lady never knew until so many things opened up, and that left her with this wound, love wound. Very difficult to love again because she poured her heart, she sold her mind, she was in with it with the totality of her mind, and right there, the man was unfaithful. And it can as well happen even vice versa. It's important we find love so that you can move on again. Release your heart. It's important to release your heart. Replace those lies with the truth. The truth is you are loved by God. You are chosen by God. You're a royal priesthood. God truly cares. God truly cares. You can still enjoy peace again. You can still see someone who truly and genuinely loves one. And the lie is that I am actually not valued. I'm always experiencing negativity. I'm always seeing rejection. That's the lie of the enemy. Allowing God to restore us is important. That's the healing process. Finding love, finding healing from love wound. The key is allowing God to heal. Telling someone, you don't bottle it up. Look out for someone. There are still genuine people. You can seek for support. You can seek for counselors, mentors, leaders that are ahead of one. Even parents can as well be of help. Look out for someone you can open up because you have a wound and you must allow that wound to truly get healed because emotional wound can be deeper than physical pain. Emotional, because it will affect one's career, affect one's goal, affect one's hobby. It's important to seek for healing. Seeking for healing is a personal decision because that wound is so deep that can affect one's output, one's productivity, one's peace, and one's even outlook and disposition. The steps for healing love wound, it's a vital need even in our time because if the wound is not healed, it can affect even one's relationships, one's business and connectivity even with partners. So it is not a moment, it's not a time to just allow wounds to remain. You need to deal with it before it affects one. Because what wound are you truly carrying? It is important to ask ourselves certain deep questions. Am I still carrying wound of neglect? Am I still carrying wound of betrayal? Am I still carrying wound of rejection? Family rejection, friends rejection, business rejection. It's important to seek for healing because when we are truly healed, it will certainly leave us with a very right disposition because bitterness, fear, emotional withdrawal, anger and resentment, and even spiritual dryness have become the order of the day. Learn to love again. Learn to trust again. Learn to enjoy relationship with sweetness. Learn to even allow God to restore your love life. It's so important. Spiritual distance from God can always remain as the outcome if we don't allow this healing. Difficult to love and also self-low esteem. It's important we don't remain with this lifestyle, struggling to forgive, struggling to live at peace, struggling to live with joy. Healing process starts with your decision. Don't hold on with bitterness. Don't remain unfaithful to God. See it as God's process of life. Look at the life of Joseph. All that he went through was a process. Even the life of Hannah. Hannah also went through mockery, even from her mate, Penina. But all of that was a process of developing even life purpose. Pain became a testimony even in their life. Renewing of joy was the outcome even of that, those moments of love wound. I encourage us as we journey through, even in our relationship with friends, partners, business connections, neighbors, let's make sure we find healing with love wound, because it is very deep and very painful. And if we are not careful, it leaves you with a scar that we find difficult to even trust people, to love people, to connect with people. God bless you. Remember to live with gladness. It is your personal responsibility. Remember to share, also comment and subscribe. Call us for counseling. Have a beautiful day.